while more people come in, I'm just going to welcome everybody. It's, each teacher who teaches says, oh, it is just such a thrill to see people popping in, right? Trudy and Josh, it's just such a sweet experience to see people show up on your screen. Oh, there's Joel, yes. So I'm Suzanne Kilkus, a teacher here in Madison, Wisconsin at Open Doors Zen Community. So we'll begin with 10 minutes of meditation, and then I'm going to offer a guided meditation at the end of my remarks. So we'll begin with 10 minutes of silent meditation. Let's go ahead and offer the verse of the robe. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Vast is the robe of liberation, a formless field of benefaction. Wearing the universal teaching, I realize the one true nature, thus harmonizing all being. Looking around the screen today, it's really good to be with all of you. Thank you for your practice today, everyone. I begin with acknowledging and bowing to our ancestors and to all the teachers for all they have given us. I want to acknowledge the land and ancestors here in Madison, Wisconsin, and all around the country here on this side of the pond. We know that the ancestral lands and people of our country have suffered deep wounds from colonization. We acknowledge our past so that we can know how to be in the present, to not harm, to live in peace, and to offer our practice and actions for healing of all wounds. And I acknowledge the migrants and immigrants who are being held in detention. I sit here with you and offer the benefits of this practice to them. And so I suggest we seed what we do here today with offering the merit. We offer the merit of our practice for the welfare of all beings everywhere. May all be relieved from suffering, free from fear, longing, and aversion, and ignorance, and may we together with all beings realize the awakened way. So, I'm going to talk with you today about Bodhichitta. I marvel at how things come together. Last Monday morning, I listened to a Dharma talk by Norman Fisher, and he gave a description of Bodhichitta I had not heard quite in that way before. It landed on the shore of my mind and stayed there. One of the things he said was that we think we know why we started to meditate or came to practice. For me, it was a time in my life when I felt a mess. A lot of anxiety, dips into depression, fears of not doing things right, and a whole host of other self-centered dreams. That was about 45 years ago. Over the years, other motivations have shown themselves, but that original one has stayed in place. Norman suggested whatever reasons we think we came to practice are just from our conscious mind, and those are not the real reason. He suggests the real reason is bodhicitta, that it is the one true causal condition that has us be here today, and it is the essence of our Buddhist practice. Here's what he said about bodhicitta. It's the deep internal and unavoidable human impulse to search for and know the truth, not for oneself, but as an active expression of love for the cosmos and everything in it. I'll repeat that. Bodhicitta, the deep internal and unavoidable human impulse to search for and know the truth, not for oneself, but as an active expression of love for the cosmos and everything in it. The moment I heard it, and I had to play it back a couple of times, I knew it to be true. It was reinforced for me the next day when I went on my first prison visit with a small group of volunteers who facilitate mindfulness groups for the inmates. Here is part of the story of that day. We arrived in the chapel space and were greeted by 20 men, All had come to practice and to learn mindfulness meditation. This was to be a secular group, and so any Buddhist language had to be translated, which I thought was a really good idea because it forced me to think in terms of description rather than labels. We sat in a circle, and after introductions, there were 3 new people in the group, 2 inmates and myself. We quieted. The lead facilitator invited the bell, and there was an instant settling. The sense was comforting as we breathed together. That was a bit surprising since we were at a prison. After the sit, a prompt was given to the 4 of us facilitators to give examples of what we find helpful in dealing with difficult emotions at this time of year. Winter arriving, darker days, less sunlight, the need to be indoors more, but most of all, the approaching holidays. I acknowledged my year of grief and 2 practices I've found helpful when it has felt a bit overwhelming. We then took the inmates into small groups to be able to talk more comfortably with each other. I have facilitated many groups over the years, and this one was extraordinary in the freely given support, guidance, and concern the men offered each other. I knew I was in the presence of Bodhichitta in action. I sat in affectionate awe. That's a term that Saint Ignatius of Loyola, he was the founder of the Jesuit order of priests. He gave that term to witnessing beauty in the face of deep suffering. Affectionate awe. Later, we closed the larger group with placing names of loved ones in the circle. I felt the love for the cosmos and everything in it in that closing. As they left, the man who sat next to me said, "I'm sorry for your loss." I was stunned. Bodhichitta, for sure. Coming from a man who had every reason in the world to protect himself, hold himself back, guard his heart for survival in this harsh, restricted environment of prison. As I tell it to you now, I can feel my heart open in receiving his care. He offered, I had to receive. It was the experience of no giver, no receiver, no gift. We were one flow of care in that moment. In looking for resources on Bodhicitta, I came across an article by Pema Chodron. She wrote it in 2004 for Lion's Roar, and I know she's written many articles on Bodhicitta since. She says that Bodhicitta is the awakened heart or mind, is something everyone has access to. It arises in everyone, and everyone has experienced it. The text she was referencing, The Way of the Bodhisattva by Shantideva, says that it often appears like a flash of lightning in the dark. It's like there's an opening in the clouds. We sense that we're connected to something that wakes us up and makes our world feel bigger. It makes our heart and our whole being feel expansive. We feel confident and inspired. I remember my first experience when I was 16 years old. I went to the woods on the farm that I lived at and on, feeling quite sad, dejected, discounted, really. I sat down on a large rock at the edge of the woods and faced the late day sun. Suddenly, I was aware of the cosmos, of something greater than myself. I wondered about this grandness, this infinite wonder, and I sat there in that space. I felt connected to something bigger than myself. I spent a bit more time there and then left the rock knowing I was expected to be home, and walked back as the experience faded, the thing is, and I suspect you all know this, at first it is momentary, as that experience was for me, and our ordinary life clouds it over, but it makes an impression on us. What was that? Or did I experience that? Or we can tend to forget the experience if our everyday life is clouded with a lot of demands or intense emotions. It took me another couple of decades to have another opening experience that came in the form of a medical concern that altered the course of my life. By that time I was meditating, and I stepped into it with a stronger intention. We all know practice makes a difference. It did for me at that time and has ever since. In Pema's article, she gave examples of how bodhicitta makes itself known. It was a bit of a surprise. I was a bit surprised when I read this next section in the middle of the article. Take grief, for instance, she says. Grief is completely pregnant with bodhicitta. It's full of heart, love, and compassion. But we tend to freeze or harden against grief because it's so painful. We bring in the clouds. In fact, we're good at bringing in the clouds and keeping them in place. We're good at fixating on them. But when you practice the teachings that say, stay with the grief, see it as your link to all humanity, you begin to understand that grief is a doorway to realizing that the sun is always shining. You begin to understand that the weather is transient, like clouds in the sky. You begin to have more trust in the underlying goodness, the underlying sun quality of your being. She goes on to say, in this way, any experiences you have, particularly very strong emotions, are doorways to bodhicitta. The trick is to stay with the soft spot, the bodhicitta, and not harden over it. That's the basic instruction of bodhicitta. Stay in the soft spot. This was my experience earlier this month as we gave the last of Steve's cremains to Lake Superior. It was the only way to give him to this grand lake, one he loved. From the deep and abiding soft, tender place in our hearts, the grand lake received him in the spirit of reciprocity. That's the bodhicitta of giving and receiving. I was deeply grateful that day. And now I want to shift to the bodhicitta of gratitude, because here in the U.S., it is Thanksgiving week. Our indigenous sisters and brothers call it the National Day of Mourning for all they lost in colonization and the injustices. I'll offer something to attend to that in a moment. First, though, I think since this week is embedded in our culture, we have the opportunity to shift it into something meaningful and grounded to the rhythms of life. Robin Wall Kimmerer, an indigenous woman, Potawatomi, from the Northeast, and also a scientist, she's a botanist, in her wonderful book, The Service Berry, gives us the best description of gratitude. She says, gratitude is so much more than a polite thank you. It is the thread that connects us in a deep relationship, simultaneously physical and spiritual, as our bodies are fed and spirits nourished by the sense of belonging, which is the most vital of foods. Gratitude creates a sense of an abundance, the knowing that we have what we need. In that climate of sufficiency, our hunger for more abates, and we take only what we need in respect for the generosity of the giver. I'm going to give that a bell because I just love that. So, in this spirit, I offer us now the Thanksgiving blessing, greetings to the natural world of the Six Nations peoples. It's a guided meditation of sorts, and so it's read in sections, and after each section, the response is, now our minds are one. Here's the introduction to it. These words of thanksgiving come to us from the native people known as the Haudenosaunee of upstate New York and Canada. The Thanksgiving address has ancient ruins dating back over 1,000 years to the formation of the great law of peace by a man named Peacemaker. And perhaps before that, today these words are still spoken at the opening and closing of all ceremonial and governmental gatherings held by the Six Nations. So we begin. The people. Today we have gathered and see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. The Mother Earth. We are all thankful to our Mother the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The waters. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind we send greetings and thanks to the Spirit of water. Now our minds are one. The fish. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The plants. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. The food plants. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting and thanks. Now our minds are one. The medicine herbs. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. Now our minds are one. The animals. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life of the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We see them near our homes and in deep forests. We are glad they are still here, and we hope that it will always be so. Now our minds are one. The trees. We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many peoples of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are one. The birds. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle has chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. The four winds. We are all thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one. The thunderers. Now we turn to the west where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. The sun. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of the new day. He is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. Now our minds are one. Grandmother Moon. We put our minds together and give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure her, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children here on earth. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now our minds are one. The stars. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to the stars. Now our minds are one. The enlightened teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. The Creator. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now our minds are one. Closing words. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. Now our minds are one. I hope in offering the Thanksgiving blessing of the Six Nations, I honored our indigenous peoples, ancestors, and our current peoples. I open it now for meeting. What have been your moments of bodhicitta? In whatever way that's shown up for you, maybe at the very beginning that brought you to practice, or anywhere along the path here. Ed, did I see Joel come in?
Yes, he just came back from the waiting room. I guess he had dropped off for a
Oh,
moment.
okay, okay.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hello, Joel. So good to see you.
I dropped off by accident and then managed to come back. Have you invited people to come forward with?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, I thank you for this. The reflections on bodhicitta arising in the most difficult circumstances, as in the kind gesture of the person you met at the prison, uh, and and this thought of grief as pregnant with bodhicitta,
Mm-hmm.
and how that connects with your invocation of the Haudenosaunee
Mm-hmm.
people's
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm always reminded whenever grief is mentioned of something that was pointed out after sitting at Appamada this morning. I think it was Rosemarie Gates who brought it up. Um, that there's a story of Kisa Gotami and the Buddha meeting with her. Her child had died. She was
Mm-hmm.
literally mad with grief,
Mm-hmm.
and she went, or at the Buddha's suggestion, she went around and she came to this realization that grief unites us all,
Mm-hmm.
and that it awakened bodhicitta within her.
Mm-hmm.
That she that bodhicitta and compassion are not very far apart, if
No.
if at all.
Mm.
And I've been reading a book by God, I always confuse these two names. Um, Robert Aitken. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mind of Clover,
Mhm.
which is a reflection on the precepts, first of all, but then has a short essay called The Mind of Clover, in which he compares efforts by human beings to do the right thing to clover, bringing nutrients to the soil without any effort, just doing what it does.
Mhm.
How it is possible to cultivate a mind of clover.
Mhm.
And in that, he quotes from D.T. Suzuki citing Meister Eckhart, who was what, a 16th century mystic, a European mystic.
Mhm.
I don't know much about Meister Eckhart, but Meister Eckhart is quoted as saying, what arises in meditation and contemplation comes forth to the world as love. It emerges in the world as love.
Mhm.
And Robert Aiken says, and actually he would amend that to say as work, that it is stepping forward to bring compassion into the world.
Mhm.
And that is so moving to me.
Mhm.
That I just see that as connected with what you're doing and
Mhm.
what you're bringing forward today. So my
Mhm.
thanks.
Oh, thank you so much for that offering, Joel. And personally, what it brought up to for me was a memory. When you mentioned clover, I had a neighbor down the alley from me in a house that we lived in. Chester was his name, and he had a beautiful garden every year. At the end of the growing season, he planted clover. And then, just before it all froze, he turned it over. And I was standing at his fence one day and I said, Chester, what are you doing? I didn't know much about gardening. I was trying to do it, but. And he said, oh, you need to nourish the soil, and clover is the best way to do it. I hadn't thought about that in a long time, Joel, so thank you
Mm,
so much. Thank you.
thank you. And yes, I've been doing gardening. I
Mhm.
waited too late to plant the clover, and it's already
Mm.
freezing here. But next year will be different. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Hello, Suzanne. You're still unmuted. You're still muted, Suzanne.
There we go. Okay, I got it.
Great. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's good to see you. And
Good to
thank
see
you for
you.
that really beautiful blessing. So much of what you talked about, going back to Norman Fisher and why we were originally drawn to practice and why we really were drawn to practice really resonated for me. I certainly didn't know when I started in transcendental meditation 50 years ago what I was doing or why I was doing it, but it was the first step. Um, but also the Thanksgiving blessing of the Six Nations was something I just became aware of recently, and it
Mhm.
touched me in a very new kind of way, in a new kind of place, and Bodhichitta and gratitude did too. That I recently discovered through doing some genealogy research on ancestry that my eighth great grandmother came from one of those upstate New York tribes. She was a Native American, a Native indigenous person, I guess. And she got married to a Dutch settler in 1620, when, of course, there was not, I mean, it was very wild here. There was no organization. That was among the first years of the settlement. And they had multiple children, and the Dutch are very good at keeping track of all these things, these records. So we have a really clear path. And I've been so struck with that. And then you read the blessing from the tribe that she was part of. She was a Mohawk, which is not
Mhm.
the term that they used, but it was a term that the settlers gave to that tribe. She
Mhm.
lives about it was about an hour from where I live now.
Ah,
And
ah.
so I suddenly had this deeper appreciation for ancestors and have a vivid sense of much more vivid sense of where I came from and where I really want to know about her, and I really want to know about the man she married, the Dutch settler that she married.
Mhm.
So on my Thanksgiving table, I will say a prayer for her and with gratitude for her and for you and for Sangha and for all of this. But that was sort of, it was a wonderful coincidence. That wasn't a coincidence, probably.
Probably not. Yes. Yes.
So thank
Yes.
you, Suzanne.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm struck with, that Kevin Bacon thing, 6 degrees of separation. You have 8 generations of separation, don't
I
you?
know, I
Yeah.
know. It's
It's
like,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Really
Thank
gives me
you.
a sense of I am deeply, deeply American in a sense of having come through, Anyway, it was just sort of, wow, that's amazing. Thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome, Suzanne.
Okay.
Yes. There's Bonnie.
Mm. Hi, Suzanne.
Hello.
I had a long, long moment listening to you today read the greetings to the natural world of experiencing the giver, the receiver, and the gift. Um, as you know, this has become a little tradition in our metta practice on Wednesday evening, and this will be the third year in a row that I've read this and have read it in with our meditation group here where I live, and just when I hearing you read it today and wanting to simply, not be thinking about reading it, but to just let the words wash over me in that way just was very lovely. And the experience, as I said, of no difference, the giver, the receiver, the gift itself, it all just became one. So I thank you very much for that
Thank
today.
you. Thank you, Bonnie. And thank you for your offering tomorrow evening. I know our meditation group is looking forward to it. While we're having a pause here, I want to read again this description of gratitude by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Gratitude is so much more than a polite thank you. It is the thread that connects us in a deep relationship, simultaneously physical and spiritual, as our bodies are fed and our spirits nourished by the sense of belonging, which is the most vital of foods. Gratitude creates a sense of abundance, the knowing that you have what you need. In that climate of sufficiency, our hunger for more abates, and we take only what we need in respect for the generosity of the giver. I'm particularly taken with the line, and spirits nourished by the sense of belonging, which is the most vital of foods. Belonging is the antidote for loneliness. Sitting in that circle of men last week, they got encouragement to know that they belonged there in the circle. Even though they were in the midst of an environment that was very harsh, and they were a very small group of people. This is a prison of 1,600 men, and so about 3% of them are studying mindfulness, because we were one group and then this week was another group. So there need to be encouraged to know that they belong to each other in this way. That seemed so essential to me. And I think it's essential for all of us. I know that that's been the message of our former medical attorney general, our general, Vivek Murthy, I can't think of the term for it now, because of his research in loneliness. And I received an email from my Qigong master, Master Chunyi Lin, here in Minnesota, who said he's going to spend his whole month of teachings in the month of December on loneliness and the need for making connection and longing. In a conversation with a friend yesterday, he was telling me about how, as he gets together with his family for the weekend, the holiday weekend, there are a lot of religious differences in the family, and he said, I realize that we can be connected without being aligned, and I just loved that perspective, connected without being aligned. Cassie's coming on. Wonderful. Cassie, hello.
Hello, Suzanne. And connected without being aligned. That's quite something.
Isn't that something? Isn't
Yeah.
that beautiful? Yes. Yes.
I am preparing new items for a Thanksgiving gathering.
Uh-huh.
So I have a new recipe that I've been trying out and I'm quite excited about. And I'm going to a home of my cousin that I adore, who is deeply a part of the right-wing establishment in our country. And so we have vast differences. And we have the shared history of growing up beside each other. This is the side of the family that we saw the most, you know. And our birth order was David was 2 years older than me, Robert was 1 year older than me, and then me, and Julie is 1 year younger than me.
Wow.
And in his 40th year, Robert passed away from cancer. And within 6 months of that, David was driving home from work and had a brain aneurysm and died in the car, just on his way home.
Oh my.
And so Julie has experienced the loss of both brothers in a very short period of time, one with a long illness that we were prepared for, and the other with no warning.
Yeah.
So I'm holding those two, I'm holding all of that, and my excitement of being with them, you know, the camaraderie of being with them. And one of the things that I play with here at my desk is this little ball. And I have it in my hand now. I often have it in my hand in Gasho. You know, I have it. It's warm from my touch. And it is a cannonball from the Civil War that was never fired. And so I keep the shot that wasn't fired. and particularly when all of this stuff is so strong right now. Um,
And
and it's so easy for me to notice the darkness.
well, you're repurposing it
Yeah,
into a force for good, Cassie,
right.
aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's warm,
Mm-hmm.
like literally, like not even conceptual. I mean, conceptually, yeah, but like if I pass it from my hand to your hand, like that, you would feel the heat,
Oh, and your
um,
energy.
and the energy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Um, and one of my cousin's sons, I have thought was gay since he was 5, you know, and he doesn't express it within the family.
Mm.
Um, he's graduated from college, and I don't think that he will feel safe enough to talk to his family.
Mm. Mm.
And there are times that I have reached out
Mm-hmm.
and been told by my mom and other family members not to.
Mm.
And so I've got respect for the family, and I also have respect for him, knowing intimately what this is like.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I say my little things. I say the things that could slip under the table.
Yes.
Um, and I'm just thinking about him and thinking about all of that, and thinking about this is what was also bringing me forward was we have this list of all of the dark things that are happening right now, and I'm trying to make a list in daily awarenesses of a nice thing, a kind thing
Mm-hmm.
that might happen in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's letting somebody in traffic or noticing somebody else let somebody in traffic, not necessarily what my offering is, but to notice that that those things are happening also, even though they're happening quieter.
Yeah. That's bodhicitta in action,
Yeah,
right? Right.
yeah,
You're reminding me of that quote of George Sanders, the American writer. He said, kindness is the only non delusional response to the human condition. Isn't that
yeah.
good? Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And
Mm-hmm.
your guys in prison who have had every distraction removed from them,
Mm-hmm.
notice what's left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There it is.
there it is.
There it is.
So
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm
Thank you.
thankful for you,
Mm-hmm.
and I adore each one of the people in these squares, people that I've never met. You know, I see Claudine's face, and I'm just like, Claudine, you know.
Yes.
It
Yes.
doesn't take much for me to love really big.
Yeah. Yeah. I identify with you on that, Cassie.
Yeah.
So we're at our time. So will you
Thank
stay
you.
on? Stay on with me,
Okay.
and let's recite the refuges. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. We take refuge in Buddha before all being, immersing body and mind deeply in the way, awakening true mind. We take refuge in Dharma before all being, entering deeply the merciful ocean of Buddha's way. We take refuge in Sangha before all being, bringing harmony to everyone free from hindrance. Now all being has completely taken refuge in Buddha. Now all being has completely taken refuge in Dharma. Now all being has completely taken refuge in Sangha. Thank you, everyone. And those of us on this side of the pond, have a wonderful week of gratitude. And on the other side of the pond, have a wonderful week of gratitude. Take care, everybody. Hand it back over to Ed.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. And I just want to make a gentle reminder to everyone that Appamada's facilities programs are supported through your generosity, as well as support that can be offered for our teachers. And that can be done at appamada.org/contribute. And if you'd like to hang around for a little bit more, for at least another 29 minutes, stay where you are, put yourself in gallery mode. You can unmute yourselves, and we'll have more belonging. Thanks, everyone.